If you sell anything high ticket, this is going to be an absolute treat for you. Today, I am releasing a private training that I did in my last company where I helped high ticket SaaS founders create compelling offers to sell their high ticket SaaS products. So if you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, high ticket service, high ticket products, high ticket SaaS, this will work for all of you because it's about selling transformation. It's about taking people from where they are to where they want to be and positioning yourself as the vehicle to get them there. All right, so enjoy. Okay, so in this module, we're going to be going through how to craft amazing offers. Now, having a great offer for your SaaS product is really going to enable you to stand out and close more deals and get more responses from cold outbound. So this is going to be a really long video because I'm going to be breaking down the biggest mistakes I see commonly with software companies, how great offers should be crafted, giving you plenty of examples of great SaaS offers and just great offers in general, and like how to structure an offer to get more responses. Think of it this way, like the offer is like the bait, right? Like it's like how you hook people into your software platform, and it's how you can also stand out. And there's many ways we can kind of frame this, and this is like a super important part of you guys having success with the cold outbound engine. And when you actually do figure out a great offer, this offer can also then be transferred to other things like paid media and things along the line. So with that being said, I'm going to shrink myself down here and we're going to dive right in. So like I said, this is going to be a long video because I want to go through each bit in like intricate detail, so you all have an understanding of like every single element. And then after this is going to be a workbook for you to fill out. So you can fill out, we'll jump on a call, and then we're going to start your LinkedIn outbound process as soon as humanly possible. Okay. So your offer should clearly convey who you serve, the problems they are facing, how you are solving them, and in doing so, removing the fears of them implementing a solution or your solution specifically. Now, this is the opposite of what most SaaS companies do. What they try and do is they sell features and not benefits. They'll say things like, our software's got a CRM, it's got a booking automation, it's got a calendar, it's got, review management, it's got all this stuff, all these features, right? And when you are sending emails like that, what you are conveying is you don't understand the issues they're facing. You don't understand the problems you are solving for them. You don't really, it could serve anybody, right? So it does the polar opposite of what a great offer should do. It doesn't say who you're serving specifically. It doesn't say you understand the problems they are facing. It doesn't say how you're solving them. And it doesn't remove any of the fears of them implementing a solution. This is why this style has such terrible responses, okay? So a great offer should sell the outcome. It doesn't sell the vehicle that gets there, right? So these are the vehicles, you should sell the outcome. So think of it this way, broad example. You want to go on holiday, you're flying to Portugal. You do not care what type of airplane you're getting on. You don't care how many engines it has. You don't care how many seats it has, how many rivets made it, anything like that. What you care about is it going to get you to Portugal? Is it going to get you there on time, right? And for the agreed upon price, things of that nature. It's like, hey, is it actually just going to achieve the outcome on like the 11th of July? I will be in Portugal on my holiday. That's all you care about. You don't care about the plane itself. That's what I mean by great offer that is outcome driven. So there's 4 key elements to like crafting a great offer and understanding how you should craft a great offer, right? So you've got desired outcome, you've got the perceived likelihood of achievement, you've got the time delay and the effort and sacrifice, okay? So the desired outcome is, what do they want? So how does your software help them achieve their desired outcome, right? So it's like, oh, we do like booking automations. What's that actually doing? It's like, no, we help you get more sales calls turning up, right? And therefore you're closing more deals, right? So it's like, if you had like this really cool booking automation AI company, the real sales pitch is like, we increase your show rates to 95%, right? Within 30 days of using us. And therefore, like, just you are implying by the fact that you have your show rate is gone from say 50 and 95, that they are obviously going to be closing more deals, okay? So you want this to be as close to like 100% of their dream outcome as possible, right? So, again, like the example I gave, if you're controlling the automations, you obviously can't control that they're closing deals, but you can control that more people are showing up, So one thing I want to make clear here and give you an example of misunderstanding the desired outcome is this is one of our clients' original kind of offers and understanding and why they ended up pivoting. So their hypothesis when they came into the market was all these engineers doing all this prompt engineering. We're going to develop a tool that basically makes them superhuman prompt engineers. So it gives them all the quick buttons and actions, etc., to make prompt engineering incredibly fast for them. They went to market and tried to sell this, and what they found was everyone just hated prompt engineering. So the correct product was to basically not have the engineers have to do prompt engineering. So they went back and rebuilt their product with that in mind, which is like the desired outcome was not that they become much faster and better prompt engineers. The desired outcome was they no longer have to do prompt engineering. So this is what I mean by it's important to understand your target market's desired outcome, right? Because this is an understanding of like, oh, we thought they just wanted to be better prompt engineers, when in reality they just didn't want to do prompt engineering. Okay, so likelihood of achievement. So how likely is it with using your software, right, that they are going to achieve the outcome that they want? So if we go back to using the airplane example, it's like if I buy a ticket and I get on that plane and, you know, it's got fuel, it's got the pilot, it's got everything there, there's not bad weather, what is the chance of me making it to my destination on time, right? It's essentially 100%, right? There's obviously some like, you know, what if there's a bird strike or something like that, but like it's damn close to 100%, right? So that's the same thing that you want to make them feel with your software. So one of the ways we can do this, and I discuss this a little bit more later as well, is likelihood of achievement a lot of the time can come down to also like implementation. So think of it this way. If I was to move forward with your software, right, and I want the result the software gives, but then there's a lot of hurdles to maybe to getting that software to achieving my outcome. It's like, especially when you're early on, you want to try and help them overcome all of these hurdles for them so that their likelihood of achievement skyrockets up. All right. So time delay. How fast can you get them the result? So let's say they buy your software, right? Or you implement your AI booking automation solution. Oh, we can implement this within 30 minutes, right? And you will see the results over the next 30 days, right? So again, it's like the implementation is 30 minutes. It's very quick, easy to understand. And then they will be able to see the feedback loop basically instantly, but you could get market analysis over, say, a 30-day period, right? So the time delay to them achieving the results. So some of you guys will be working with enterprise and, you know, it'll be, say, increasing customer retention by, you know, improving CSAT scores. And it might be like, well, the CSAT scores take, you know, they take like a 90-day rolling average. And then you're only going to see like the offset, like, you know, how that's translated down over like a 6-month period. That's just the reality of the niche and you're serving and like the product you're delivering. So you want to get this down as low as possible, but there will be certain limitations for some of you. Now, the effort and sacrifice. Now, this is what I was just saying earlier about that you implementing the product for them if possible, right? So you want to make this as close to zero. So like if they sign up with your software and they just have to sign up and then you do the full implementation for them, the software is delivered, you then train the team up on it for them, right? So you sell to the CRO or whatever, and then you'll be like, yeah, we'll jump on a call with your team, we train them up on the platform, we implement the platform, and we ensure it's delivering for you. And it's like, well, now the effort and sacrifice from their side is like, okay, so they have to jump on a few meetings, but it is significantly less than you just, saying, hey, here, go log in here and figure it out. All right. So you want to reduce this down as close to zero as possible. Okay. So the dream, imagine this is a dream state. Let's go back to the travel example. If I wanted to go to Portugal, the dream state would be I went online, it said arrive at Portugal. I swiped my credit card and instantly I was in Portugal. I was in Portugal at the exact moment I wanted to be, right? I got my desired outcome. The likelihood of achievement is I teleported there, so it's 100%, right? The time delay is zero, and the effort and sacrifice was zero, essentially, outside of swiping my credit card, right? That would be the ultimate desire. And the closer we can get to that, the better. Obviously, there is like limitations on this, but just have that in your mind of like the higher the achievement, higher the desired outcome, the lower the time delay and the lower the effort and sacrifice on their side, the more compelling your offer would be. Okay. So I want to go into now, like, this is the actual offer formula we're going to be using. There's a couple of different styles we can use it, but this is the major thing here, right? So you will be serving a specific avatar. You will have a specific outcome you will deliver. You will do it ideally in a specific time frame, and you will be removing their biggest fear of moving forward with a solution, right? So if your product does solve multiple issues, let's say you have multiple features and they do solve different things, you'll want to do this for each of those things, so you have a really good understanding of like how your product could actually help them. So when it comes to selling to businesses, or selling in general, there's only 4 outcomes you can ever have, right? We can only use 3. So you can make them more money, you can save them money, you can save them time, and the only other one is an increase in status, which is irrelevant to us. So an example of that would just be like, why does Rolex and Casio exist? They both tell the time, but Rolex is just a status play, okay? But the only 3 we're going to be working with is saving them time, saving them money, making them more money. When you go down to any offer, any product, any software that is being sold, they are doing one of these 3 things. It's like raw component parts, okay? So identify their dream outcomes. So I'm just going to riff off like a bunch of outcomes here and give you examples so you could use it for yourself. So you could be, we help you increase your customer retention by 37.2%. Now, the reason we'll use a more specific number like this, the more specific it is, the more believable it is. So if you like say, oh, it's 25 or 40 or 100 or 95, humans inherently go in like 5 and 10 indexes. So the more specific it is, the more believable it is, because humans will inherently think it comes from data. So, even if in a day, in like for a specific timeline, let's say you had 103 customers, right? And let's say you averaged out how long it took them to achieve, the desired outcome of the software, right? So let's say you were increasing their customer retention, right? You would then average it out and you would say, on average, they achieve this result in an 11.3 day timeline, or a 37.2% increase in retention. Like when you actually do averages, there is always a decimal or it's always an odd number. You don't necessarily have to use a decimal, but like it's almost never a rounded number like a 35 or a 40. So that's something to bear in mind. So again, like increasing CSAT scores, the reason this is important is CSAT scores, in this example, CSAT is customer success, is that is the vernacular that they use to communicate. So also using the certain terms within your offer will clearly convey that you understand the market. So if I'm going after the customer success and I say the word CSAT score in my offer, it automatically conveys that I understand the market, okay? So reduce OpenAI costs by 97%. And then like another one would be like, we take you from doing this task from 4 hours to 4 minutes, right? So then we want to list out all of their perceived problems. What's going to stop them getting what they want? So if they implement, like, what are the things that, is going to be painful for them? So like common issues is moving platform. And there's a couple of things. It's like, one, this is exactly why CRM's LTV is so long. It's like 3 years plus, right? Because when people are in, the pain of moving platform is so great that even if your platform is better, they don't do it, right? So this is when this comes in here. So when you are starting out specifically, this is when you do stuff that does not scale. So if you do not have a direct integration, let's use Close.com, which is a sales CRM, and HubSpot.com, right? If I was building Close.com now from start, and I had a great platform that I knew everyone was going to love, and let's say I was cutting price and giving them more value, one of the first things that I would focus on would be a direct integration with to allow me to transfer anyone's HubSpot data. So then what I'd do is I'd craft a campaign and go after HubSpot customers. I would then be able to remove, like basically decrease effort and sacrifice and the perceived likelihood of achievement. I'd increase that by having, oh, it's a 3-click direct, transfer from your HubSpot account, and we transfer everything. We build out all the pipelines, do everything for you, right? So the customer's perceived likelihood of achieving the goal of like moving platform with success, not having anything going wrong, and then achieving that outcome skyrockets, right? So if you don't have this integration, which again a lot of you won't, it's like this is when you do it manually. You're like, yeah, we can do that full transfer for you, right? Because again, it's like their effort and sacrifice is coming down and their likelihood of achievement is going up because you are doing it. You're the one that's familiar with the tool. You know what you're doing, right? So this is something that you want to think about, okay? Things will go wrong and cost time and money is like a very common one, right? So like, hey, we want to implement this, then it doesn't work out being what we thought, or it takes too long to do it. You won't know how to use the platform. It's a new learning tool. Again, this can come from education. So this can come from like documented videos, help docs, customer support, onboarding calls weekly, helping the new team. Moving won't be fast, is complex, busy. New tools won't deliver on promises or a waste of time. Complex to integrate, takes engineering times bandwidth to implement, and they're already busy is like a very common one. Implementing new code, so let's say you got to put some code in the back end, they're worried about it messing up their core product, things like that. Compliance issues, security issues, so like this is why you get like your SOC compliance and stuff like that. Again, very common. So you're going to run into a lot of security issues if you are selling to enterprise. So that's something to bear in mind. And then, turn all of these problems into solutions. So imagine this, it's like, oh, we do this within one click. So like, oh yeah, we can transfer you from HubSpot to close.com within one click. We can implement our OpenAI, cost savings. So we've got our new OpenAI alternative. We can implement it within 4 lines of code, right? Like that's how easy it is. Security issues. Oh yeah, our software doesn't require any access to data. So there is no security issues. All the data is on your platform. We don't require any access to it, right? We have a direct integration or migration, right? We can implement this within 30, 60, 90 days. Another one would be like, although they are using a new software, you might be directly interface with, say, Salesforce. So you might have a Salesforce tool and you just directly overlay on Salesforce. They're not having to learn a new tool. It's just still natively in the platform. So these are amazing examples here that you're going to go ahead, write your own and use. And then I want to give you an example of like why the without statement in an offer. So again, like coming back up here, without the biggest fear and pain can actually be a bigger motivator than more pleasure. So a decrease in pain is always a bigger motivator than an increase in pleasure. So I want to give you a really good example of that. So a lot of you probably have heard of Scope, right? Scope and Listerine, so they're both mouthwash companies. And Listerine, by far and away, category king of mouthwash. And Scope were like, how are we going to penetrate this market? So they did their due diligence. They found they found a major flaw in Listerine's product, which was Listerine killed, say, 99.9% of bacteria in your mouth, gave you fresh breath, but it gave you medicine breath. So what Scope did is they came to market and their product wasn't actually quite as good. Let's say it was 98%. But they said, you will not get medicine breath. So it's like here, the onion test shows Scope finds bad breath and doesn't give you medicine breath. This is exactly how they remove the biggest fear or pain from Listerine, which is like, if I wanted to go on a date, right? I wanted to use mouthwash, and then my choice was Listerine. So then I'd go out and I'd have this medicine breath and it just wasn't pleasant, right? So then obviously people just wouldn't use mouthwash. So what Scope said is basically, hey, you want to go on a date, you don't want medicine breath, but you want to use mouthwash. The only person you can use is us at Scope. All right. So you want to think about this as like, this was a huge motivator. This was an enormous marketing campaign for Scope and absolutely rocketed the company off one amazing offer, right? A market employ, which is the product wasn't as good, but they did it without giving you medicine breath, which was a much bigger needle mover. And what they ended up doing is they created a subcategory. So it's like you wanted the cleanest mouth, you would technically have to go to Listerine. You wanted a fresh mouth but without medicine breath, you had to go to Scope, right? They created a subcategory. So in terms of products, so a lot of you will be very familiar with the AI writing products like Jasper, Writesonic Copy, etc. So there's this other company that you might not have heard of called Jenny.ai. Very similar. It's an AI writing solution, but when Jasper and all these others are going after like writing blog articles and doing every type of writing emails, Jenny focused on a different subcategory, which was students. And they are a very successful AI company, and they just switched their avatar and they went, okay, we're going to create a subcategory for ourselves. We're not going to say, hey, we do AI writing for every industry, for everything. It's like, no, we're going to specifically focus on students, college kids, and helping them with writing, right? And that allowed them to carve out their own market. So they started ranking for all the keywords, etc. So it's something you want to think about. So let's dive into some offer creation here. And in this, I'm going to walk through some very broad examples and then get more and more specific throughout this video. So the email, the offer in the email should be clear, concise, and measurable, ideally with a guarantee. So again, we go specific avatar, specific outcome, time period, biggest pain and fear, biggest pain and fear. So let's use a very broad one. We'll help, so X to Y, will help you go from 1 million to 10 million ARR in 90 days. It's a very specific goal in a measured timeline, right? In reality, this obviously isn't a realistic offer. You can't increase someone's ARR to 9 million in 90 days, but I kind of did that for dramatic effect. So if we want to expand on this, we want to remove the thing they hate. So let's say I said to you, I can get you from 1 million and 10 million ARR in 90 days. And then I said, but you have to do it with cold calling. Your perceived likelihood of achievement has just plummeted to essentially zero if you hate cold calling, which a lot of people do, right? So the effort and sacrifice is shot up, right? The time delay is still 90 days, right? The desired outcome you're hitting, but perceived likelihood of achievement is now gone to essentially zero. So it's like, oh yeah, we can do this, but you've just got to cold call, you got to hit 300 dials a day. People be like, there's just no way I'm ever going to do that. And therefore, there's no way they'd move forward in this offer because it's their biggest fear. It's like they don't want to cold call, even if it gets them to the desired outcome, right? So the reason this next one is better is we're removing the thing they hate. So we find out they hate cold calling. So we go, we help you go from 1 million to 10 million ARR in 90 days without cold calling, right? So it could be with YouTube ads, content, paid ads, meta ads, cold email, cold outbound in general, like whatever it is, but we're saying without cold calling because we understand that's the thing they hate the most. Then what we can do is we can do a guarantee. And this is a guarantee based on these results. So it's like, hey, we'll guarantee to scale you from 1 million to 10 million ARR in 90 days without cold calling. And if we don't, we'll refund you all your money. So it's a no risk guarantee. And then if you wanted to, and this is just like what you call a two-step guarantee, is that you can say, hey, we'll give you all your, we'll refund all your money and give you $1,000, or we'll refund all your money and we'll give you the platform 6 months for free anyway, right? It's like, it's just another layer of confidence. But if in doubt, another one is just like a satisfaction guarantee, which is when, you can give someone a product and be like, hey, we're going to hit this. But if for whatever reason you aren't satisfied with using our product, like the software's not hitting it, you haven't enjoyed anything, it's like you can just get a refund without questions asked, right? So you can always use a satisfaction guarantee if in doubt, okay? So another bonus here that I just want to kind of walk through, and this isn't directly necessarily related to just this bit here, but you can expand. So let's say you have a product, a software. There's one of our clients I've got in mind right now who helps. Basically, they help people win contracts, right? And then a lot of the issues they're having is people, like when they might bid on a contract and might actually get a response or win the contract, might be like 6 months down the line, 6 months down the line. So one of the things that we implemented was, hey, we can basically build a back end of like helping them understand how they win more contracts, what they should do day to day, where like essentially build like their business expertise around using this platform. and therefore they are getting value up front. So it's like, hey, you not only do you get a software which we're going to help you say win more contracts, right? We're also then going to show you how you deliver on these contracts, how you make more money, how you scale a team to get more of these contracts coming in, how you outsource, etc., etc. And then what you're doing is you are delivering immense value up front through like a course portal. And then people were staying on the platform for longer because they saw value up front and they understood it took more time. So there was more educational piece. So for a lot of you, this will not be relevant. I totally understand that. There is a couple of very successful software companies that I know have implemented something just like this, which is basically, hey, you sign up to our tool and we will give you a free learning portal to show you how to execute and get the most value out of the tool. And in doing so, you're building that like tribe mentality. People are getting better results, so they stay for longer. That's how I kind of want you to think about this. So can you develop like an e-learning section as well once people are on board to deliver more value? And this is purely a bonus. Okay, so I want to walk through basically a few real life offers now to show you what this looks like. So this is actually one of mine that was incredibly successful. So I can walk you through step by step the exact numbers. So when we started out, we just went after the local businesses, which is not ideal. It's very broad. It should have really been more niche down to say HVAC companies, but we had this full CRM solution, automation, reputation management. Again, very broad SaaS platform, nothing really special here. That's the problem. Very hard market, very competitive. So we were running through all the parts of the platform. We're like, what are the things that were the biggest needle movers? So we had a couple. One of them was actually around getting appointments to shows, so like automations and show rates, so like increasing show rates. But the other thing we know with local businesses is like their online reputation, their GMB listings and stuff are like mega important, and they're pretty much the biggest driver of deals for them. So you'll be in your local area and you'll put, HVAC, someone to fix my HVAC or whatever, local HVAC company. And the person usually with the most and best reviews on Google is the company you're most likely to go with, right? So what we basically did is we focused on that. So we also had a satisfaction guarantee that I reworded that I will show you. And then we gave it a catchy name just to make it easier to remember. This is absolutely not a requirement. So I want to walk you through the thought process just step by step. So it's like local businesses aren't techie, and their software can be tough to sell because they just don't have the same level of adoption as like mid-market enterprise companies. They also don't care about the software because it's like complicated. They just want to know what it's actually going to do for their business, right? So this is why we focused on the reputation management side of things, because we know how important their reputation, their GMB listings are. Why? Because if they have a better reputation, they'll get more customers, and they'll get more customers they get, the more money they make. All right. So using our software, we built a review campaign for them. So what we would do is, and was part of the platform, is you could upload a list, and we had a pre-built sequence for sending out and say, hey, would you leave us a review? In doing so, when you got a lot of reviews, and still to this day, the more reviews you have, the more 5 stars, etc., the higher up on the GMB rankings you come in for like the search terms. So this still works today. So what we do is we ran the whole thing for them. This is what we did. That was, again, it was effort and sacrifice. We got to as close to zero, so their perceived likelihood of achievement went as high as possible, and their dream outcome went as high as possible, right? And then the time delays, like it was a 30-day campaign. So it was always fixed at 30 days. So in turn, if they're on the first page of Google, right? So we built the campaign to get them on the first page of Google. So we knew that it's implied. If they're on the first page of Google, they're going to make more money because they've got better rankings, right? So the worst outcome they could possibly get was they got it for free, right? They didn't end up on the first page of Google, but they would have definitely ended up with more reviews, right? So their worst outcome was they just got more Google reviews for free, right? And they had a sales call with us. And the best outcome is they went to the number one on Google listings, and they basically started making more money, right? So this was the end product. This is the end offer that we ended up having. So it was called the First Page Fast Track. And we will guarantee to get you on the first page of Google in 30 days, or we'll give you $500 for wasting your time, right? Specific outcome, first page of Google, 30 days timeline, right? Or we'll give you $500 for wasting your time. This is what I was saying about satisfaction guarantee. The reason this is just a reworded guarantee is for them to basically subscribe to our offer for our software, it would cost them $500, right? So it was $500 for them to sign up for the offer, and then we basically said, and if we can't get you on the first page of Google, we will then give you your money back. All right, but that was their sign of commitment to us. The smart thing we did after this is, when people were successful, and even when some people weren't, we said, hey, didn't you love all these reviews and all this other stuff? This is our platform that we did it with, and then we upsold them onto an annual subscription, and this is how this specific offer worked, okay? So I want to now dive. This is far more of an intricate offer, and I'll be candid, this is the best offer I've ever come up with. We were getting deals over the line for $100. So I'm not expecting you to come up with anything like this. So now I want to show you like examples of clients from where they started and where they ended up and the differences there. So here's an example. We got a food CPG company where they identified that they were losing 60% of their charges from margin from chargebacks, and this was the software they built to resolve this. So their original offer that they came to me with was, we eliminate grunt work of inputting information from emails and multiple platforms into spreadsheets. Now, anybody really could say this within reason, right? It didn't make them stand out. It didn't help convey what their software did, who it helped, how it helped them. Didn't do any risk reversal, right? This is the offer that it ended up with that worked very, very well. We dispute 100% of your compliance chargebacks. Why did they say compliance chargebacks? They do all chargebacks, because compliance chargebacks they won by far and away the most of, and were the most common and usually the highest value. So they focused on that first. Once they got sucked in with just doing the compliance chargebacks, it was like, oh, by the way, our software does X, Y, Z, and they bought into all the other features of the software. But we sold the highest reward part of the platform first in 30 days or less. So it's like they can control this. We dispute. It's not like we win within 30 days because they can't decide, they don't get to dictate that. But we dispute 100% of them within 30 days. Now, this was a very, very important needle mover. So when we first crafted the offer, it was this. And the responses were okay, but not great. And we spoke again, and they said one of the things that we're hearing is the reason they didn't want to move forward with the platform is that they were worried about upsetting the buyer. The clients were worried about upsetting the buyer if they were winning all these compliance chargebacks. And they were saying one of the great things about our platform is it's all automated. It's not personal. So their system files a chargeback because their delivery was late, and then their software files a counter claim. So there was no people involved. So it didn't upset the buyer. Adding this little bit here changed the game with their offer. This again showed that they understood the biggest fear of their clients and they reversed it. Okay. So the next one is, it was, do ChatGPT, AI, API stuff, right? So we set up detailed OpenAI analytics to track costs within 4 lines of code. So this bit was good. Within 4 lines of code, very measurable, nice, right? And it's broad. We set up detailed analytics and tracking costs. Like, we don't really know what that means, but this wasn't like awful. What he ended up running with, which converted very well, was we reduce OpenAI errors from 5% to 0.02% within 5 minutes. So you can see here, these are two different kind of offers. The way of his tool does both, right? And this is just understanding which one they saw the most value in and crafting an offer around that and then running with that. Okay? This one was businesses use conventional AI for customer texting, increasing bookings and revenue. This was the offer that they came with originally. I want to introduce, Journey AI, a robust platform that is a CRM, missed call text back. This was their actual one, right? So it wasn't joking back here at the very top when I said people do stuff like this. This was the very first email that they came to me with, okay? Or the offer. So we'll guarantee, so this is where they went more specific. We'll guarantee to get you 3 DUI cases. So they were going after DUI lawyers specifically. They had case studies in this section. They had someone who was a testimonial. They knew it worked. They knew they could get results. 3 new DI cases in 30 days without the hassle of manual follow-ups, right? This is the thing that they hated. They hated having to follow up with all the clients. Clients were just non-responsive, so they handled it all for them, right? And then they did a 2-step guarantee. So I hope this gives you a really good understanding of like how to craft an offer. I know so far this video has been very long, I understand, but this is like a very, very important part of the process. And it's like, we're going to be running through this together. So I don't want you to get, overwhelmed with the amount of stuff here. I'm just trying to break down each of the component parts. So when you go and make your own offers after this, it's going to be really easy for you. So once you have an understanding of an offer, so let's say it was, one of these, right? If you have something very specific that your software does, so a prime example of this is your software might only actually solve one problem. You don't have multiple problems you solve. So you can technically do this second style of offer, which is, again, it shows that you understand the market, and what it's doing is it's just allowing you to basically say that up front. So if you have a single value proposition here, you can use this, but you do not want to use this if you have multiple different value props. You want to use offer style one. So what you'll do is you'll basically have a rhetorical question that calls out their biggest pain point up front, and then you will basically say, hey, this is why we're reaching out, because we've solved this very specific problem we know you're having in this timeline, right? So, hey, first name, I'm sure you're thinking about the broken leg issue at your net company, and this is the number one concern for our avatar. That's why I'm reaching out. Our product helps you, offset this. Here's social proof of people we've helped to do this. Here's the call to action, right? So here's what it looks like in practice. Hey, I'm sure you're thinking about the LLM's models' accuracy and reliability at company's name, which is the number one concern for our enterprise clients, which is why I'm reaching out. Our product helps companies using LLMs like yours remove the biggest barrier to enterprise adaptations by preventing 99.5% of hallucinations without accessing any of your data, right? We're currently working with XYZ, right? Doing this for them. Is this something you'd be interested in exploring, right? Next one. Hey, another day, more issues at company names, LLMs, model accuracy and reliability. Curious how you're dealing with these issues. Are you just doing XYZ? This shows you understand the market, right? X and Y and your company. So these are like, I know, Meta and Amazon are using, Jenny AI to prevent 99.5% of hallucinations without getting access to any of your data. Is this something you'd be interested in exploring? Okay. This is the local business variation, which is got a lot less variables in. So, hey, are you frustrated with third-party delivery commissions? I'm reaching out because we figured out how to cut these in half. We've helped restaurant XYZ. Is this something you'd be interested in jumping on a call about? Right. Very simple. Now, the last one I want to show you here, because this has worked very well, but it works very, very well for a super specific product, right? So this is the no offer format. Now, let me be very, very clear on this. If you have not built a product yet, or if you have, you built one, you're thinking about pivoting, this is a type of email that you can send with this quote unquote offer, where it will allow you to test the waters of your market without needing to be too specific. So this can work. This works. The best we've seen this work, to be very transparent, is when there is far less competitors in the market. So let's say, just use a very easy example. Let's say Salesforce was the only CRM, right? And other people were now trying to build CRMs. You could use this if you're an up-and-comer against Salesforce. So it'd be like, hi, Andrew, I'm the founder of, Salesforce Alternative, an up-and-coming, competitor, like Salesforce competitor. We are an AI CRM software solution with better technology than you know who. We're looking for a few companies to join our pilot program, and I thought you might be a good fit. The wording here is very important. This puts the power in your hands. We're looking for a few companies and thought you might be a good fit. We didn't say, hey, would you love to try us? Like, we'd love to let you try. It's like, no, we think you might be a good fit. Like, this is you taking the power. By joining the pilot program, you get direct input to the tailored products, the early access to the features, and a lifetime discount. Would you be interested in jumping on a call and learning more? Right? You can use this email, and we have seen this time and time again, if you are in this specific situation, to get sales calls booked and people signing up. And then you might be asking, if we haven't got a product, we can't show them anything. Through using our sales process, you aren't demoing the product for a start. The next, and you will discover that through all the workbooks and modules you're going to be going through subsequently. But the big thing here is you are taking the power with the way you're wording this. And then if they want to sign up, you'd be like, great, awesome. We've got a 3-month wait list for people signing up to our program. So, we're going to take a deposit or whatever, but we'll be in touch. This gives you the time, the bandwidth to then build the product. Let's say, for example, you went out to market, you jumped on a load of calls, and then a bunch of people said, some first guy said yes. So you're like, okay, great. And then the other people said no, like this isn't, you reached out to another 40 people, they all said no, and you're like, okay, so only one guy actually wanted it. All you do, if you did take a deposit off him, is just refund his money. That's it. Like, this is what we mean, and you will hear me and Darren say this all the time, when you sell before you build, right? And this is something that will enable you to do that if you are unsure in the product or the market you're going after. Okay, so the next steps are, there's going to be a workbook supplied in the Notion below, and you are just going to be listing out, the product, the desired outcome of the market, the problems, the solutions, and then building the offer using the X to Y framework. So it's like, hey, we help lawyers achieve X result in Y timeline without the thing they hate, right? So very simple. Once you've done that, you will then, and by the way, listing out all the problems and solutions, you're going to see that you're going to have loads of options and variations. And then they'll basically just fill in the gaps of these offers. Once you've done that, we're going to jump on a call and we're going to go through these and we're going to get them nailed down. Once we've got them nailed down, then we are going to go to market on LinkedIn initially whilst your emails are warming up, okay? So go back to Notion, download the workbook, fill it in, book a call with me, and we'll get going. We want to get you guys doing outbound as soon as humanly possible, so the faster you can do this, the better. All right, I'll see you later.